The twin shuttles descended through the crimson atmosphere of Proxima Minor, their hulls gleaming under the light of 3 distant suns. Inside the lead vessel, Commander Zixither of the Galactic Empire allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. The human colony had fallen without significant resistance, and among the spoils were 2 peculiar specimens human children. Barely 6 standard cycles old, Lisa and Vin Diesel sat huddled together in the detention cell, their small hands intertwined. Lisa's auburn hair fell across her tear-stained face, while Vin Diesel's dark eyes burned with a defiance that seemed far too old for his young features. They had been separated from their father during the attack, watching helplessly as their home burned behind them. "Don't be scared," Vin Diesel whispered to his sister, though his own voice trembled. "Mom will come," Lisa nodded, squeezing his hand tighter. They both knew their mother, General Catherine Cross, the woman humans called the Iron Phoenix. But what the aliens didn't know was that they had just made the gravest mistake in the Empire's 3,000-year history. Across the galaxy, on the human battlecruiser Vindication, General Cross stood before a holographic display, her face carved from stone. The message had reached her 4 hours ago. Proxima Minor compromised. Civilian casualties high. Among the taken, her children. General, her second-in-command, Colonel Harris, approached cautiously. Everyone on the ship knew about her twins. "Command is ordering a strategic withdrawal. The Empire's fleet is dismissed." "Colonel," Catherine's voice was quiet, deadly. "Tell Command that I'm issuing emergency Protocol Omega." Harris's face paled. Protocol Omega had only been used twice in human military history. It meant total war. No quarter asked, none given. "General, that protocol requires—" "I know what it requires." Catherine turned, and Harris saw something in her eyes that made him step back. This wasn't the calculated strategist he'd served under for a decade. This was something primal, something terrifying. This was a mother whose children had been taken. Mobilize the fleet. All of it. On Proxima Minor, Zixither examined the human twins with scientific curiosity. Humans were relatively new to the galactic stage, their territory small, their technology inferior. They made excellent slaves, but these 2 children might prove useful as leverage or perhaps test subjects for the Empire's genetic research programs. "Fascinating," he murmured, watching as Vin Diesel placed himself protectively in front of his sister whenever guards approached. "Such primitive attachment behaviors. The male infant actually believes he can protect the female." His assistant, a 4-arms Centauri named Cole, chittered in amusement. "Shall we separate them, Commander? Break the bond?" "Not yet. Let them cling to false hope. It makes the breaking sweeter." But hope wasn't false. It was traveling at faster than light speed, carried by 200 human warships that had abandoned their defensive positions. Across 3 sectors, at the fleet's center was the Vindication, and at its helm stood Catherine Cross, her uniform crisp, her jaw set, her eyes holding the cold fire of vengeance. "General," the communications officer called out, "the Empire is hailing us. They're threatening to execute the prisoners if we don't withdraw. Put them through." Zixither's reptilian face appeared on the view screen, his expression smug. "General Cross, how predictable. You've mobilized your primitive fleet for a rescue mission. Very emotional, very human. Return my children," Catherine said, each word precise. "Controlled, or what?" Zixither laughed. "You'll wage war against the Empire? We have fleets spanning 1,000 worlds. You command barely a fraction. I don't need 1,000 worlds," Catherine interrupted. "I only need the one where you're standing. You have 12 hours to release Lisa and Vin Diesel. After that, I'm coming through your fleet, through your planetary shields, through every defense you possess, and I will take them back." The communication cut off. Zixither stared at the blank screen, then laughed again, though this time with less certainty. "Ridiculous. Begin preparations to sell the children to the Krell Syndicate. Let's see how bold the human general is when her offspring are scattered across the dark markets." But he had miscalculated. Badly. 11 hours later, the Empire's sensor rays detected an anomaly. The human fleet wasn't approaching conventionally. They had somehow bypassed 3 defensive lines and were emerging from hyperspace directly above Proxima Minor. "Impossible," Zixither hissed. "Our shield network is offline." "Sir," Cole reported, panic creeping into his voice. Someone infiltrated our systems. They've been dormant in our network for weeks, just waiting. Catherine Cross had been planning for contingencies since the day her twins were born. Every major Empire installation had human code sleeping in its systems, waiting for activation. She'd hoped never to use them, but hope was a luxury she could no longer afford. The Vindication descended through Proxima Minor's atmosphere like an avenging angel, weapons hot, shields at maximum. Behind it came drop ships, assault carriers, and enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. In the detention center, Lisa and Vin Diesel heard the explosions growing closer. Vin Diesel stood up, pulling his sister to her feet. "I told you. Mom's coming." The door to their cell exploded inward. Zixither stood there, a plasma weapon in his clawed hand, his eyes wild. "You're coming with me, humans. You're my insurance." He never finished the sentence. A single shot rang out, and Zixither crumpled. Behind him stood a figure in human combat armor, helmet removed. "Mom." The twins screamed in unison, rushing forward. Catherine Cross caught her children, crushing them against her armored chest, and for just a moment, the ruthless general disappeared, replaced by a mother who'd been separated from her babies. Tears streamed down her face as she held them. "I've got you," she whispered. "I've got you. You're safe now." But even in that moment of reunion, her tactical mind was working. The Empire would retaliate. This incident would likely trigger a war that humanity wasn't ready for. She didn't care. They had taken her children. They had learned what every predator eventually learns when it threatens a mother's young. There are things in this universe more dangerous than superior numbers or advanced technology. There's a parent's love, forged in fury and tempered in steel. As the Vindication lifted off, Proxima Minor burning behind them, Catherine held Lisa and Vin Diesel close. The Empire had made an enemy today, not just of a general, but of every human who understood what family meant, and the galaxy would never be the same.